10 Immortal Animals. Do you want to live forever? That would be something incredible and an impossible dream at the same time. But there are some animals having that power. You can live forever. Come with me to see immortality is not just a myth. Schmidtea mediterranea. There are some animals such as lizards, salamanders, zebrafish, or axolotls that can regenerate amputated body parts and getting them worked like new ones. How amazing it would be if you could do it, don't you think? This planaria or flatworm is an expert in the matter, and it can even recover its head with brain included. But why is that? Basically for two things. The first one, if because of the pluripotent stem cells which are capable of getting divided and creating an exact copy of themselves. Another one is the WNT signaling pathway. That would be like a PC cable connection. These vias pass signals into cells. The Schmidtea mediterranea keeps these vias in off mode so it can regenerate even so decapitation is total or it gets its tail cut off. This was proven when they made the Schmidtea's cousin, the Dendrochilium lacteum, regenerate itself. The most incredible thing is that it gets such a complete regeneration that its body is exactly the same than before. And if you have the guts to cut the Mediterranean into little pieces, a new animal will arise from each one. American lobster. I bet you know this one. The American lobster is one of the long-lived and most delicious species that you've ever tasted in a seafood restaurant. Its longevity isn't something that keeps you up at nights, but just for the record, the lobster can live as long as 50 or 100 years and even more. Why's that? Scientists say the American lobster ages at a different rate. Its metabolism is slow because it lives in cold waters. In addition, it's more fertile over the years, so an adult lobster is better than a young lobster. Its immortality is due to the continuous regeneration of its DNA. It is 7.87 to 23.6 inches in length and weighs 0.8 to 8 pounds approximately, but it can weigh up to 35.27 pounds. In 2009, in the United States, a 140-year-old lobster was caught. This culinary delicacy can live longer than you and I, but that doesn't diminish the tastiness of this almost immortal crustaceous.
Oh man, that's good.
Greenland shark. The Greenland shark is the oldest vertebrate on Earth. Along its life, it's gone through revolutions, wars, births, dismantled empires, but how? This happens because it lives under extremely frozen temperatures, which makes it have a slow growth and metabolism. That's why the Greenland shark reaches sexual maturity at the age of 150. What about you? Could you be a kid for 150 years? I don't think so. It's been difficult to determine the correct age of the Greenland shark found, but thanks to the radiocarbon dating applied to the crystalline lens, it's been estimated that it can live up to 512 years. So now you know, if you want to live longer, try living in a cold place.
So cold.
Tardigrade. It's difficult to identify at first sight and technically indestructible. The tardigrade, also known as water bear, it is famous for being the most resilient animal in nature. It is only 0.012 to 0.020 inches in length, and some of them can be up to 0.047 inches. It can live up to 60 years, and even if you burn it, dry it, or irradiate it, the tardigrade won't be destroyed. It's everywhere. There are plenty of species of these little ones, and it can survive in the highest mountains or deepest ocean. It endures a temperature of minus 328 degrees Fahrenheit and a high temperature of 302 degrees Fahrenheit. In addition, it's immune to radiations that you and almost all animals would find lethal. The tardigrade can spend 30 years without food or water and even live in the space. As long as the sun shines on Earth, the water bear will survive. Long live the tardigrade. Ocean quahog. This is the most long-lived animal of all, and the most used for seafood dishes. It is difficult and complicated to determine the age of this mollusk. However, you could use the same system implemented to estimate the tree's age, since both this mollusk and the tree have concentric rings that can be counted to determine their longevity. In 2006, a team of researchers found on the ocean floor a clam that was supposedly 400 years old, and they called it Ming, just like the Chinese dynasty. This clam got into the Guinness World Records, but unfortunately this almost immortal mollusk died while its age was being estimated. By counting the rings of its shell, the conclusion was that Ming, the clam from Iceland, had lived 507 years. Its death wasn't in vain, because scientists found out the little mollusk's longevity and analyzed the climatic history of the North Atlantic in the last 500 years. Do you think you could have lived for 500 more years? Leave it in the comments.
We are so old.
Aldabra giant tortoise. The Aldabra giant tortoise is one of the biggest reptiles ever. The adult ones are 3 feet long and weigh 330 pounds, but there are some tortoises over the 4 feet and 550 pounds. Its famous life expectancy is over 300 years. Not bad, huh? This is the only tortoise from the Indian Ocean alive so far, as many of them became extinct with colonists due to their excessive hunting in the 18th and 19th centuries. They are currently in danger, however, these long-lived friends will survive much longer than us, you just have to take care of them. If you see one, treat it well and feed it properly because it eats too much. Hydra. I'm sure you knew nothing about this animal. The Hydra has the special gift of immortality, so you can't say this video is a clickbait because here is what you wanted to see. Actually, it's no big deal. This is a tiny species that can be found in any swamp, but it doesn't die. The Hydra is green, long, and 1.8 inches in length. It doesn't even have a brain, but under proper conditions, the Hydra is capable of extending its life forever or so. Wait, what? Does it live forever? That's correct. Its secret is to regenerate itself. A Hydra can get broken into pieces and stay alive like nothing had happened. Besides, from each little piece, a perfectly healthy new Hydra is born. For one so small, it can live for many years, and it breaks the rules by being 3 days old and able to reproduce. And if there are other animals that can reproduce that fast, the Hydra must only live for a month, but that's not so, and scientists tried to find the answer to be immortal in this little friend.
The Hydra.
Bowhead Whale. This enormous bowhead whale can live 200 years without having any age-related disease. This cetacean is up to 59 feet long, weighing 100 tons approximately. Different from humans, the whale has more cells and more effective regeneration. This has been demonstrated by researchers from the University of Liverpool, United Kingdom. They analyzed the DNA sequence of the whale and discovered that its genes are different in cell regeneration, DNA repair, cancer, and aging, which makes it a singular cetacean. Its longevity is due to its slower metabolic rate in part, compared with younger mammals. This is a powerful giant. Some whales have even been found with harpoons stabbed into their body. This big friend can handle it all. Siliceous deep sea sponge.
Photosynthesis. Photosynthesis.
A sponge might seem harmless, but if it is about this one, it can be almost immortal. The Siliceous deep-sea sponge can reach lengths of 9.8 feet. Its spicule, which is part of the poriferous skeleton, might last for about 11,000 years, so this is one of the most long-lived animals on the planet. It would have been interesting to live since beginning of civilizations until now. How many good stories you would have to tell, don't you think? Awesome. Immortal Jellyfish. So many centuries looking for the fountain of youth, the elixir of life, and it was always this little jellyfish, which remains young and never dies. With only 0.78 inches in diameter, this little one never dies from natural death unless it's eaten up by its predators, but if there's no predator around, it lives up to its name. The immortal jellyfish was discovered in the 19th century. It was recently found that the immortal jellyfish has such a regeneration power that it gets old and goes back to its early stages of life. Imagine being old and then a kid forever. Also, may your wounds heal and you regenerated. Spectacular! The immortal jellyfish has this superpower because it uses the transdifferentiation. That is, a process in which one mature somatic cell transforms into another mature somatic cell, just like it happens with stem cells in humans. There is no way to figure out this mysterious mechanism up to now and apply it to people, but never lose hope. So now you know, to be immortal, it is necessary to always be young. Don't let years get you old!
So what you're saying is, I'm indestructible.
If you enjoyed Immortality as much as I did, don't forget to like the video, share it, and subscribe for more incredible content. Animals are wonderful, and I always show you how incredible is the place where you live. To find out more mysteries of nature, I recommend taking a look to these videos.